Yeah, sounds good. And it's easy, it's an easy thing because it's 5+, so it's it's not like.
Just so you know.
Yeah, thank you. All right. All right. Well, good morning. It's obviously been a busy morning. Weather First meteorologist Garry Frank here. I have Weather First meteorologist Anthony Slaughter standing by as well. And we've been in this morning tracking severe weather. And obviously, that's been the main focus for us all night. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell yesterday, meteorologist Tracy Henson as well, Jim Castillo hanging out all last night preparing us for this morning. And it lasted long enough where a lot of you have been awake, but now it's impacting your commute. And now we have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. I want to bring you some of the latest pictures on what it looks like as this storm continues to push through. And what you'll notice here, at least at this hour, is we have a couple of different things. This area highlighted a severe thunderstorm watch now through 11 o'clock. That includes St. Louis City, St. Louis County, and then also into the Metro East. That's the same thing. This will continue through 11 o'clock. This is a tornado watch. This is not so much what we have to be focused on, but it is off to our south, and that officially expires at 9 o'clock. We'll see if that's something that changes. Right now, my thought process is the fact that I think most of this is just going to be wind threats and some smaller hail. We're seeing a lot of pea-sized hail throughout the region, so I do want to zoom in to what it looks like on this radar imagery. And you can see a heavy line of rain, showers and thunderstorms that have moved through. It took a while to start to bow out, as we like to often call, just because it's in that bow shape. It tends to mean that the winds are at least stronger, and you're getting that outflow between 40 and 60 mile an hour wind gusts. We've seen reports on the Metro East side of about 53 miles an hour, not quite severe criteria, but it's something that will get your attention and obviously bring some trees down in some small areas. And we've seen a couple of storm reports, which we can pull up here for you shortly, that have also brought in, some areas where we've had a power line down and some 3-foot power poles down. So that is happening. I do want to zoom in a little bit and show you what's going on from a perspective of Mascoutah now being impacted by this severe thunderstorm. And that's what we're going to look at here in the short term, because I do want to put a track on this for you here as we look from Mascoutah to Freeburg, Fayetteville, and New Athens. And, one of the things that we're going to monitor is the fact that this is moving at about 30 to 40 miles an hour, depending on where you are. So even if you're not in this severe thunderstorm warning polygon, what I want to show you is where this is going to be impacting you specifically, because I think that over the next several hours, you're going to be impacting this from Carlisle areas. It's moving at about 30 miles an hour. So these are the areas that are going to be impacted. It's not moving quickly. What it's doing more than anything, if I put this, is moving in this direction along this front. So as this cold front moves from west to east, what you're going to see is, yes, the rain is moving in this general direction, but this entire storm is moving this way. And so that's why we're starting to see that outflow of the wind pushing out. So even though this is moving at about 30 miles an hour, these storms may be moving a little bit more quickly along that particular line. So I want to put that into motion here, and we'll look at another specific area because I want to focus on a couple of these other areas near Mascoutah and even a little bit further south, where either you're in the middle of the severe thunderstorm warning or just outside of it, like Festus, where you can see this specifically, where even as I put this, Festus right now, not involved in the severe thunderstorm warning, but if I just put this leading edge of perhaps just the stronger cell where you're going to be impacted by this, it's going to take a while. Still 8:53, so you still have just another about 10 minutes or so to go here. So we're going to continue to see these things monitored as we look at some of the latest updates on what's going on. So they have extended the tornado watch a little bit further south, and most of that's going to be on the Illinois side. I think that's not going to be something that's impacting us. Like I said, and just mentioned minutes ago, that 9 a.m. tornado watch, they've probably extended that a little bit further, and we'll bring that to you in just a few minutes because Anthony is not coming up here for another until about 10 to 15 minutes. So we're going to be with you and update you here on 5+ and online. But I want to look at a couple other different spots here that those areas that are impacted here because Festus is impacted even further south, where Lesterville, Ironton, Bunker, you're still kind of on the northern edge of things here. And as I kind of just give you an idea of what's going on, what you're going to be able to see is I just look at this specifically. These are the areas that are going to be impacted by Centerville by about 8:55. So it will take some time. So we'll get there. But these are the areas that are impacted as this front moves through because it's 47 degrees in Columbia. And this morning, not only we had 33 in Kansas City, but we were at 38 versus 78 in St. Louis. We have dropped to 64 with rain, cooled air. You'll notice where Paducah, Cape Girardeau, Mount Vernon, where you're still in the 70s and that front hasn't got through. My suspicion before looking at the map, which we'll pull up shortly, is that this area is probably involved in some sort of tornado watch. You're in St. Louis, you're in Warrenton, you're in Raleigh. You're not going to be dealing with tornadoes. I would say 95% of our counties are out of that, and this is really not a threat for us the rest of the day. We have to worry about the short-term threat. Through 11 o'clock, that severe thunderstorm watch is in place. It's the wind gusts of 60 miles an hour. It's some smaller pea-sized hail. Our current wind speeds and gusts are picking up a little bit south of our area. Scott Air Force Base now has 37. We have 39 in Sullivan. So you've seen these marginal wind gusts, even behind the front, gusts upwards of 30. We're out of the wind advisory. That has come down. You're seeing some of those straight line wind gusts upwards of 40 to 60 miles an hour. Those are marginal severe thunderstorm warning wind gusts, which typically are about 58. You're not seeing too many of those. We've got a 53 that's reported, but we do have some damage, and we do have radar indicated winds aloft. So anytime we can get that down to the surface, that's going to give us our best bet. So what's in store for us the rest of the day? 10, 11 o'clock. We still look by midday, most of this from Flora, Effingham, Mount Vernon. You're still dealing with this. This is the area that's most likely going to be impacted by that tornado threat and that tornado watch. Behind that, though, you'll notice all these areas starting to not only clear out from rain, but certainly clear out from the severe weather threat. As we put this into motion, you look at 115, areas in Herman, Bowling Green, the sun's starting to come out. And I think you're going to look at a better day here the rest of the day. So just to kind of put a bow on this for what's going on the rest of the day, the Cardinals are playing the Braves at noon. And if you had tickets and you're wondering what's going on, well, it's going to be a lot cooler. But it is actually going to clear out, and I think by 4 o'clock the sun's out. It's not all that warm. Temps come down. We're somewhere between 55 to 60. And over the next few days, we'll see most of this threat start to wind down here, as I would expect that we're starting to see things get a little bit better. So 70 degrees, morning storms, 60 tomorrow. But it's the storms as we remain in storm alert. I'm going to show the radar one more time here and give you just one more idea about what's going on, and that actually should give us an idea of where that specific tornado watch is that has been extended, because typically it's a little lagging behind. So as expected, here's where they have issued that tornado watch, and I'm just queuing that up for you. That's through 4 o'clock. You'll notice that does not impact our area. Cape Girardeau, these are areas that have already been impacted so far this morning. And so these are a couple of different spots. If I'm going to kind of give you an idea about some areas, this is Perryville, DuQuoin, Mount Vernon. That's where you're seeing that tornado watch. So there are some marginal areas specifically because of what has happened so far today. And so here's probably the newest severe thunderstorm warning that is in place. And as I just kind of thumb around here just a little bit, I do want to look at where this is and who's it impacting. Because from Potosi here, you're still seeing this entire area, Germantown, New Baden, 858, Bonne Terre. I would say within the next 15 to 20 minutes, this is going to settle in and give you a brief, at least 40 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts, maybe some pea-size up to quarter-size hail. That is the main threat with most of these storms for us. It is not necessarily the threat for twisting winds and the potential for tornado warnings, things of that nature. I think that's really going to be on the Illinois side. That doesn't mean that it's not a possibility, because as I mentioned, we still have cloud cover, but as that front continues to push through, that's where you're going to see that best bet. So once again, Mount Vernon, areas south of even Farmington, involved in that new tornado watch till 4 o'clock. It doesn't involve any of these areas. This severe thunderstorm watch through 11 o'clock. So that means you got another couple of hours, and you're really going to start to be able to eliminate counties by counties. You're going to be able to check Rolla off, Herman off, Bowling Green off, Litchfield off. Most of those areas are going to be out, especially as we continue to look at that cold front that settles through and drops our temperatures. You feel how much colder it is right now than it's been. And you'll really notice this is, even I pause things, the leading edge of this, more now through Litchfield. Bowling Green, you're in the clear for severe weather the rest of the day. Really anywhere, I would say, even as I pause this, really anywhere around specifically, I would say St. Louis and eastward. You're seeing that Herman, Raleigh, you're done with severe weather. Bowling Green, you're done with severe weather. And while you may be technically in a severe thunderstorm watch, you can just cross that off the list. You're done with it. It's cooler, the fronts move through, but it's this leading bowing edge that we'll continue to look at specifically, because that's where I think that you're going to see the most significant 40 to 60 mile an hour wind gusts, embedded pea-sized, quarter-sized hail. These are the areas that are most impacted by this. From O'Fallon, Illinois, things are quieting down. Belleville, even as I kind of clear this and scan things around, I want to give you kind of a heads up. Downtown St. Louis, you're good. De Pere, really close to the airport, you're good too. Cottleville, Chesterfield, things are quieting down. So these are areas that are getting some light rain, but your severe threat is essentially over. And you can really see that from Innsbruck all the way back to Washmo, Union, Bourbon even is starting to settle down. Cuba now is in the clear. So the bottom line, there are still some areas that are impacted by this severe thunderstorm threat, and we'll continue to monitor them. Now we got 3 members of the Weather First team here. Jim Castillo just walked in. He's going to be taking the reins here in just a little bit. He'll have your next 5+ update, as well as your forecast at noon. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell with an update this afternoon. But in general, I don't think that much is going on all the way through mid-morning. I think within the next hour or two, things start to quiet down. Meteorologist Anthony Slaughter has an update here coming up just before, if you're watching during the Today Show, he'll have updates here in just a few minutes.